If like me you've got the Weebill S, I have 6 accessories that will take this gimbal to the next level. I'll tell you why I got them, why they make the gimbal even better, and how much they cost. You can find the link for each product down below in the description. I'd like to thank all of my recent subscribers and all the people that took their time to drop such nice positive comments in the last video. And a massive shout out goes to all the Redditors. Drop me a comment below if you're from Reddit. So the first accessory is the TransMount quick setup kit. Now this consists of 2 parts. One part that screws onto the bottom of the gimbal, and the other part screws onto the mini tripod that comes with the gimbal. Now, normally if you want to transfer, you just screw in the mini tripod onto the bottom of the gimbal, and then if you want to take it off, you unscrew it and then you screw it back onto the other part of the gimbal where you would have it as underslung mode. Once you have this in place, all you do is you pull the collar back and just attach it to the base part on the gimbal, and it's as easy as that. So in order to take it off, you just pull the collar back, off you go. You need to get 2 sets of these in order for you to quickly transfer the mini tripod from the bottom of the gimbal to the underslung mode. That's because this only comes as the base and the part that clips into the base. So 2 will allow you to then go from here to here. This does have other uses. So for example, like a monitor, you can put one end on the monitor, one end on the part that you need to connect the monitor, and you've just made yourself a quick release setup kit for your monitor. The only negatives that I can think of this is that they are a little bit expensive for what they are, and they can be a little bit fidgety at times. I have fat fingers, so sometimes it can just be a little bit of a chore to pull the little collar down. But other than that, it's brilliant. It saved me a lot of time from having to screw and screw, and just like that. The next accessory on the list is the TransMount extension plate. So what this does is it allows you to extend the gimbal outwards, so you get a cold shoe on there and some mounting points for anything else. The way you put this on is you have a little bracket that you screw onto the bottom of the gimbal. So you just remove the little cover and you put the little bracket on there, so that whenever you want to put the extension plate on, you literally just slide it in. Let's go this way. You literally just slide it in and tighten this screw. Now my use case scenario is I put my microphone on here, because the best thing about having this here is this moves with the direction of your camera. So anywhere your camera is pointed, the sound is going to be picked up. So if you have a shotgun microphone, then you don't need to worry about where your microphone's pointing, because it's always going to point in the same direction as your camera. You can even have a light if you wanted, and it will just light up everything in front of your camera. And it doesn't add that much weight to the whole setup because it's quite light. This is quite easy to take off as well. Just unscrew and off it comes. One of the drawbacks of this is that when you do want to pack the gimbal away, you have to take the extension plate off. But once you do take the extension plate off, it does easily allow you to close the gimbal. Another drawback of this is that when you do have the extension plate connected, it moves freely upwards. However, when you move downwards, it does get in the way of this arm. But I have a Panasonic S1 camera with quite a long 24-105 lens, so it doesn't really prevent it from moving down further than it would have anyway, because the lens would have hit the base part shortly after anyway. So the next accessory that I have is a must for me especially to balance a heavy camera. It's a counterweight, however, it's not one of the counterweights that goes onto the back of the mounting plate. It's actually a clamp by SmallRig, and then this just clamps onto the sidearm and lets you attach some counterweights. So it's got a few 1/4 holes in order for you to screw counterweights on. The kit that I bought came with 100 grams counterweight and a 200 gram counterweight. I purchased this 50 gram counterweight separately because the way I have this currently set up, it only requires 50 grams. But this is suited to any camera that is left heavy. So for example, I believe the Blackmagic Pocket cinema cameras, they're left heavy as well. So therefore you need to counterbalance that weight. And this is the best way I found it. My current setup is I have the counterweight, I have the camera on this part, I then have the microphone on the extension plate as well, and that balances out perfectly. And mind you, my camera is a heavy camera, has a cage around it as well, and it balances perfectly. And the negatives for this is that sometimes it can just be a little bit loose depending on the position that you get this clamped in at. And also, in order to pack the gimbal away, you do have to take this off because it gets in the way of when you fold it back. Another product from SmallRig that I also purchased is this little extension arm, which, if I screw this on here, well, it'd be good if I got it screwed on the right way. So this allows me to connect another cold shoe mount, so anything that I need on here, and it has an articulating monitor mount. So I have the 5-inch Atomos Ninja 5, and that allows me to just mount it on here and view the monitor as I'm holding and filming. So with all these accessories connected to the gimbal, and with a heavy camera like the Panasonic S1, just holding the gimbal with one hand was getting a bit much. So the next accessory that I have on the list is an L-mount dual grip handle. So let me show you what that is. So there you have it. That's the L-mount dual grip by A Gimbal Gear, which is, I believe, accompanied by Rig, aka Ulanzi. And it allows me to be able to control the gimbal with two hands, rather than having one, just one hand having all the weight and not having the best balance, not having the best shots. Two allows me to have a much smoother movement of the gimbal. Shout out to Peter Macom, who gave me that idea. Sorry if I pronounced your surname wrong. And the last accessory that I bought was a handle from Rig, the DH14, which comes in two parts. So it's a customized NATO rail that gets screwed onto the back of the gimbal. And what that allows you to do is slide the handle on and off when you need it. The handle comes with a little screw as well to tighten it. So I now have a permanent top handle for underslung mode, and the bottom handle for holding it with two hands like this. If I want to switch it up and hold it with two hands like this, I can. Now, the reason why I got this particular top handle is because it actually changes its orientation. So if I take this off, instead of being a top handle in this way, I can put it sideways. Once I get this in the right manner. So I can put this sideways. So it turns to the side and allows me to hold the gimbal like this, which I think is fantastic, especially when you're doing shots backwards, forwards, to the side. I think that is a really, really good way of doing it. And the top handle has a good solid feel to it because it's made of aluminium and it has a silicone grip on it as well. It has 3 mounting points on top plus a cold shoe mount. So in total, this whole rig has 1, 2, 3, 4 cold shoe mounts with all these accessories. It's a bit much, but I'm sure I'll make use of it somehow. And there you have it. My ridiculously fully rigged out Weebill S gimbal. But I think it's fantastic. If you found this video useful, then make sure you hit like on this video and a subscribe for any future videos will be so much appreciated.